New guests announced for Tiny House Summer Camp 5 in Vermont coming up, RelaxShacks.com. Jess and Dan Sullivan from AnotherTinyHouseStory.com. They are awesome, as you will see. And Solavore.com. Solavore Ovens, they're coming out to do some live demos too. Check them out, Solavore.com, and use the code BESTSolarOven for a bunch of free stuff. Hey, I'm Deke from RelaxShacks.com in Fort Garland, right?
Yes,
Colorado.
sir.
We've been traveling, so like each town, I keep forgetting where we are. Fort Garland, Colorado, at the White Mountain Trading Post, and we're very lucky to have our very own tour guide here.
Hi,
Want to introduce yourself?
Yep. I'm Elisha Robertson with the White Mountain Trading Post. And what we have here is a 300-year-old hoe gun. This is obviously reconstructed, but this is exactly how they would have been 300 years ago. So if you step inside here, you'll notice you have to duck your head pretty low. That would be to deter enemies. They'd have to come in at a disadvantage. And,
Yeah.
And also it creates airflow, nice cool air coming in at floor level, and it'd get to the fireplace there, and it'd start raising up as it got warmer, and that would take the smoke right out the top.
And straight out the peak. Okay, yeah. I didn't even think of that. That's actually pretty darn clever. You want to go ahead of me, and then we'll take the tour through the gauntlet here? I'm going to really have to crouch down to get through here. Ah, this is great.
Absolutely. You can see the beds here. This is a pretty large hoe gun. This would be like a chief's hoe gun.
Okay.
You'll notice there's 5 of them. Typically, there's only like 4 people that would actually have beds in a hoe gun. Maybe less. Most of the people slept on the floor, especially little kids. They'd have their sheepskins and stuff like that to keep them warm. But the Navajo actually were the first people to build their beds off the floor like this. They'd have the wooden framework and the ropes suspending the grass, and that was kind of their mattress. And then they could sleep in their robes and blankets and stuff. We have a few metal objects here, obviously, the Navajo did not refine. These would have been brought in by the Spanish and the conquistadors as they traveled inland. They traded them to various Native American tribes. The stoves, probably wouldn't have made it very far, but, they did carry those in the ships. Horses and cattle also came with the Spaniards from the Old World. Before that, they did not exist here in the New World. So Navajo is actually a kind of a derogatory term actually. It's,
really?
Yeah, it's a Spanish word that means the thieves.
Oh, I did not
Yeah.
know. Okay, wow.
So they call themselves the Dene, which means the people. And so they much prefer if you call them Dene. But Navajo, just referring to how they would sneak into their camps at night and steal what they had and stuff like that,
Gotcha.
But to the Navajos, of course, they believed that if you weren't man enough to protect your own stuff, then you really didn't deserve to have it. So,
Yeah.
so it was kind of an honor system, more than stealing to them.
Now the all the framework here, if you will. I mean, this is really overbuilt.
Absolutely, yeah.
This is almost like a wattle and daub style, or just sticks and thatch the roof.
Mainly, yeah, kind of like a thatch. It's just the main beams, of course, the willows that you can see, and then we've got grass or straw on top of that that's about 6 inches thick, and then we pile on about 6 more inches of dirt. And, some of the dirt around here has more clay in it than other places.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier about the adobe content in New Mexico and Arizona primarily, but that's what they would have chinked the walls with as well. So that's really water repellent.
Okay.
So you get a good bunch of that packed down on the ceiling, and, you got a real good...
Water repellent,
water
runoff
roof.
and thermal mass, because it's
Absolutely.
It's like 88 degrees out right now, and in here it's pretty darn cool. It feels
Exactly.
pretty nice. It's like
you'll notice it's about 65 degrees in here.
Yeah.
And it'll only change 5 to 10 degrees from summer to winter.
Yeah, I mean, you're pretty much building. It's like a hill, constructed out of logs and thatch
Absolutely.
and such. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool, man. Hey, thank you so much for the tour.
Absolutely.
White Mountain Trading Post
That's right.
in Fort Garland, Colorado. This place is fantastic. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. My pleasure.